The day our HOA Karen called the cops on my wife, the new police chief. It was a crisp Tuesday morning in our quiet suburban neighborhood of Willow Creek, Virginia, when the doorbell rang with an urgency that made my coffee go cold. I'm Tom Harper, a 52-year-old freelance data analyst who spent the last decade crunching numbers from my home office. My wife, Laura, a detective with the city police, had just left for work, her briefcase stuffed with files she wouldn't let me peek at. Lately, she'd been distant, her phone buzzing with calls she took in hushed tones. I chalked it up to a big case, but something felt off, like a storm brewing just out of sight. Outside, standing on my porch like she owned the place, was Margaret Klein, our HOA president. At 55, Margaret was a force of nature, her blonde hair always perfect, her clipboard a weapon she wielded with glee. Ever since her messy divorce 3 years ago, she'd turned our neighborhood into her personal fiefdom, issuing fines for untrimmed hedges or suspicious behavior like my working from home, which she once called unemployed loitering. That morning, she was in full battle mode, demanding to speak to Laura about some vague HOA violation. I told her Laura was at work, but Margaret wasn't having it. "This is official business, Tom," she snapped, already dialing her phone. "If Laura's dodging me, I'm calling the police." What Margaret didn't know, what nobody knew, was that Laura had been sworn in as the city's new police chief just hours earlier. And when the cops she called rolled up, they weren't about to ticket their new boss. What unfolded next wasn't just a neighborhood spat. It was the unraveling of a conspiracy that reached the highest levels of power, exposing secrets that would change our lives forever. 3 weeks earlier, I'd noticed something strange in a client's financial data. Numbers didn't add up. Patterns emerged where none should have been, like digital fingerprints of someone cooking the books. It reminded me of my old job at Apex Dynamics, a defense contractor that fired me 8 years ago for asking too many questions about their government contracts. The sting of that betrayal still lingered, but it had sharpened my instincts. I was deep in those numbers when I got an email from an unknown sender, timestamped 3:47 a.m. The subject: "They're watching you too." The message mentioned Apex and a name I recognized from the news: Senator Richard Vance, a powerful figure tied to defense spending. I deleted it, thinking it was spam, but the unease stuck. Laura was acting odd, too. She'd come home late, her detective uniform crisp, but her eyes tired, clutching files she'd lock in our safe. When I asked, she'd flash a smile and say, "Just work, Tom," in a tone that shut me down. That morning, as she poured fresh coffee, I caught a glint of excitement in her eyes, like she was holding on to a secret she couldn't wait to share. "You're doing that thing again," she teased, nodding at my screen, seeing conspiracies in every decimal point. "Maybe because there usually is one," I shot back, kissing her quickly. She laughed, but her phone buzzed, and she stepped away, her voice low and serious. I didn't catch much, just fragments, classified and effective immediately. Whatever it was big. Then I saw Margaret outside, clipboard in hand, staring at our house like a hawk. She'd been at it for weeks, taking notes, snapping photos, muttering to herself. The neighborhood gossip said her divorce had left her broke and alone, the HOA her only outlet. But this felt personal. When my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number: "Check your email." It wasn't spam. My pulse quickened. I dug the deleted email out of my trash. It read, "Apex wasn't the only one. Ask Laura about Senator Vance." My mind raced. What did Laura know? And why was Margaret circling us like a shark? The next morning, Margaret was back, pounding on our door at 9:15 a.m. sharp. Laura was pacing in the kitchen, on a call that had her voice trembling with what sounded like pride. "Thank you, Mayor Reynolds," she said. "I accept the position." My heart skipped. Position? Before I could process, I opened the door to Margaret, who thrust a folder at me like it was a court summons. "This is a mandatory HOA inspection," she declared. "Laura's ignoring community rules, and I'm documenting it." She was already recording on her phone, narrating for her social media followers like she was starring in a reality show. "Laura's on a work call," I said, trying to stay calm. "Can this wait?" But Margaret was in full Karen mode, uploading her video with a caption I could only imagine was pure venom. "No, it cannot wait," she hissed, dialing 911. "I'm reporting Laura for obstructing HOA business." Behind me, Laura ended her call, her face glowing with a mix of relief and excitement. As she approached, I heard sirens in the distance. Margaret smirked, thinking she'd won. She had no idea what was coming. The police cruiser pulled up, and out stepped Officer Daniel Torres, a familiar face in Willow Creek. He was all business, notepad in hand, until he saw Laura step onto the porch. She wasn't in her usual detective gear but a new uniform, her badge gleaming with the word Chief. Daniel's jaw dropped. "Detective you, Chief Harper?" he stammered. "You're the new chief?" They announced it this morning, but he trailed off, starstruck. Margaret's phone wobbled in her hand, her live stream still rolling as her audience started to question her narrative. "Chief Harper now," Laura said with a calm smile. "Daniel, we've worked together for years. What's this about?" Daniel explained the 911 call, looking mortified. Margaret doubled down, insisting Laura was hiding to dodge HOA rules, but her voice faltered as Laura's authority sank in. Then, across the street, our neighbor Clara Thompson, a 72-year-old retiree, approached with a tablet that looked straight out of a spy movie. "Let's talk about legitimate authority," Clara said, her voice sharp. Clara, who we'd thought was just a quiet widow, revealed she'd been recording our street with a surveillance system that would make the CIA jealous. Her footage showed Margaret banging on our door, ignoring my polite requests, and muttering about engagement for her videos. The crowd on Margaret's live stream turned on her, comments flooding with skepticism. Then my phone buzzed with another email, this one a detailed analysis of Margaret's social media posts, showing they'd been edited with AI tools and boosted by bot farms. Whoever was sending these wasn't just watching, they were dismantling Margaret's facade in real time. The plot thickened when Margaret, pale and shaking, pulled me aside. "Tom, we need to talk. Privately. We're both in danger." Her bravado was gone, replaced by raw fear. Before I could respond, Clara's tablet pinged with an alert. 3 unmarked vehicles with federal plates were 2 minutes away. Clara's calm demeanor cracked just enough to reveal she'd been expecting this. "It's time I told you who I am," she said. "I'm Clara Thompson, former Chief Justice of the Federal Appeals Court for D.C. I've been building a case against Senator Vance's corruption network for 5 years." My head spun. Clara, a retired judge, had turned our street into a covert operation hub. Margaret, trembling, admitted she'd worked for Vance's campaign finance team years ago, uncovering illegal funds from defense contractors like Apex. When she tried to blow the whistle, her life imploded, jobless, divorced, blacklisted. The HO was her shield, a way to stay visible and avoid disappearing. She pulled out a digital recorder, her voice steadying. "I have recordings of Vance directing the scheme, Inc. records, emails, everything." As federal agents swarmed our street, led by Agent Emily Carter, Clara activated a protocol declaring our block a federal witness protection zone. Margaret handed over her evidence, and I was tasked with analyzing financial data to tie it all together. Clara admitted she'd been sending me those mysterious emails, guiding my analysis to build an airtight case. "You weren't just a neighbor, Tom," she said. "You were a key witness." Agent Carter's team moved fast. Senator Vance was arrested that day, along with Apex's CEO and others in his network. Margaret's recordings and my data analysis exposed a web of corruption that shocked the nation. 6 months later, Willow Creek was quieter, but changed. Margaret, now in witness protection, had testified before Congress, sparking new whistleblower laws. Clara, appointed special prosecutor, turned her home into an FBI outpost. Laura, thriving as police chief, earned national praise for her role. I launched a forensic analysis firm, turning my Apex nightmare into a career fighting financial crime. Our HOA, rebuilt from the ground up, now a community hub rather than a battleground. Margaret's story taught me that behind every Karen might be a deeper struggle. Her courage, Clara's strategy, and Laura's leadership turned a neighborhood dispute into justice served. What do you think about Margaret's journey from HOA tyrant to whistleblower? Have you ever misjudged someone, only to learn their true story? Share your thoughts in the comments, especially on how we confront bullying or injustice in our lives. Do you believe in second chances, or should actions like Margaret's early behavior face harsher consequences? Let's debate. Your perspective matters.